Welcome to Chasing Dragonflies. Join us as we explore the glorious chaos of chasing life, only to discover the God of the universe is chasing us. I'm your host, Jane Foster, triplet mom and fellow sojourner in the land of motherhood. Hi friends, you sure are in for a treat today. I've got Elizabeth Hostin with me. She is a who's who of educators in our neck of the woods. It would take me 3 days to explain her resume to you, but I'm just so delighted that she decided to come today and join us and just share wisdom. The thing that impresses me so much about her and why I wanted to invite her to be with us today is that when you look at stages of education, whether it is elementary school or middle school, junior high, or high school, or even college, there is not a place where she has not been a teacher or a principal in any of those arenas. And so she's got a wealth of wisdom for us. She's a wife, she's a mom, she's a grandmother, and then has a 40-year education career. So I just hope that you're blessed with just listening to her today, and I'm so excited to have her with me. Where did you come from, and what do you want to be known for, Miss Hostin?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, I was born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky. Never in a million years, when I was a child, did I want to be a teacher. And so when I was in college, I had a niece born that had Down syndrome. And my sorority sisters encouraged what we needed to do as a family to get her to be the best person that she could be. So I learned about special education and about all the avenues that are out there for children and for their families to embrace. So I went into the College of Education at the University of Kentucky. I decided at that moment that that's what I wanted to do. That was a passion because I wanted to open doors for all kids. And so I graduated. My husband got a job in Texas, so we moved to Texas. And I got a job with Arlington schools and taught middle school there and then high school. Then we moved to Mansfield, Texas. And I started teaching at Boren Elementary, and I taught 4th grade, probably the youngest group that I could be most comfortable with, because when you had been in high school and then you moved to elementary, just my tone, sometimes kids thought I was yelling, and I'm like, no, I promise I'm not yelling. But then I became a assistant principal, and then opened up schools here in Mansfield. But then I retired. My husband got a job in Tennessee, and so we moved, and I missed it. But during that time, I was speaking with scholastic book fairs across the nation, talking about the power of students having choice and students being able to read. Just, we practice skill a lot, but we lose just the passion of reading and the power in just the written word. And so giving kids time during the day to read was a passion of mine. And I was able to share that across the nation. So much fun. And kids and teachers everywhere are really the same. They're just in different climates. And so I had such a fun time. But then COVID hit. And things happened, and we moved back to Texas, and I was asked to do an interim job at Anime Dalton, and I loved it. And then they asked me to come to Boren, and then just recently back to the middle school where I retired from. So God had a plan I never had, and I just had to take a breath and just embrace it, because there's purpose in every place where you are in life. And that's my career. But I married very young. I was 19, still married to the same man. And then we have 2 boys. Our oldest will be turning 40. He has given us 2 beautiful grandbabies. My daughter-in-law is just a love. He married his mother, so I
Wonderful.
just love her. And then our youngest son lives in Florida, and so he is on a different path, and we're so proud of both of them. And they still talk to us. You know, that's something you want as a parent, is that your kids want to be with you, and they want to just over Thanksgiving, hearing them downstairs just laughing and enjoying each other. And Lonnie, my husband, and I, we just are like, okay, we're blessed. We're blessed.
It's a good life.
It's a great life. It's a great life. Now, has it always been great all the time? No. And that's the thing that frustrates me the most with parents, is they sometimes aren't honest with their friends. So when they begin to have a struggle, their friends think, or because no one's been really honest, they begin to question, am I a good parent? Is everything falling apart? No, it's just a part of life. And if we're not truly honest with one another, then we begin to doubt our parenting. We begin to doubt, am I being good at what I'm doing? And so if we could be more authentic with each other, I think we would be a little bit happier.
I've noticed that in my community of friends, the people that you trust trust to be vulnerable with and be able to say, I don't have it all together for even an hour of the day. If you think that, it's a ruse. But I've noticed that what we end up doing with each other when we see each other is we lead with, this is the hardest thing we're facing right now. And there's some comfort and relief in that to just know, hey, the same things you're struggling with in parenting, we all are. It's just a part of the journey together.
And that's what I love about having friends that are older and younger, because we're there to tell them about the process and that we've been through it and that you're going to make it. You're going to make it. We are very blessed to be at a pretty multi-generational church. And so we have had the opportunity to have people who have walked the walk before us and tell us it's going to be okay.
Right.
Because you know what you deal with when they're little, you're just exhausted because they're not sleeping.
Right.
And we're able to say, it's going to be okay. One day you're going to wish they woke up because they're sleeping till 11.
Right.
But, and now parenting adults, that's a new challenge. It's a new challenge. And so having people who have walked that path helps bring us comfort, and just their wisdom is powerful.
Absolutely. I have kids that are almost teenagers, and so we're at that developmental stage of them wanting independence, beginning to get more and more of that gradually. The pulling away stage where they don't just light up when they see me and come and run for a hug like they did when they were little. But I love that you said, my boys still want to talk to us. They still want to be with us, that there's still joy in that, and they're adults. And so I love the encouragement that it comes full circle and that these stages are normal and natural. And that just tells me you've done something right if you launched adult kids and they still want to be near and still want to be connected.
We're very grateful. But honestly, if it wasn't for church, our faith, and the community that we have, I don't know that they still would be as connected because it takes all of us together. We were very blessed when we moved to Texas to find a church we had about 30 young couples, and we were all going through stages at the same time together. But our leadership had children our age, and so they were able to give us guidance and direction. One of the greatest things that I learned was the power of word, and that the written word is so awesome. And the need of your children to be able to fall back on that. So even if they're not listening to your voice, if you write it down, they're going to come back and read it. They just do.
It becomes an echo for them of
Exactly.
purpose. I love that.
And they, their purpose is different. Our youngest was a theater major. And, we have so many friends that are like, what a wasted education. No education is ever wasted because now he is in a project manager. He's able to bring people, his crews, in and get them excited and energized about the day. And what a huge blessing because he's on stage, even though he's at work.
Right.
And as a parent, I never wanted a child to major in theater, but he learned so much and he gained such confidence that God knew what he was doing. And so you just sometimes have to, they're not living out your dreams, they're living out their personal life dreams.
I think that's so good because so many times what we imagine would look like success for our kids is not how God created them to be. And so just being able to watch and listen and wait and be able to cheerlead when we see this is where this is going and I don't need to control it the other direction that I thought was my vision for them. I think one of your superpowers is leadership, and I know that shines through in how you conduct yourself as a principal in administrative circles or even a Sunday school class. I really feel like you have the unique ability to just ignite us around vision and purpose and delight in the direction that we're going. I wondered if you would share just along the way with different stages, whether it's preschool before kids arrive in kindergarten, to elementary, to kind of more of a middle, intermediate stage, and then high school and beyond. What are some things that we need to major in and what do we need to minor in? My mom used to say, don't major in the minors. And I think it's very easy as a mom we get focus dead center on something that's important to us today and forget to shift and move forward in that. What would you tell us with a little stage in getting kids ready to launch into elementary school?
To begin with, at the toddler stages, you know what? You need to teach your child no. And you know what? They're going to throw a fit. But if they never hear no before school starts, they don't know how to respond when an adult gives them a directive because they don't want to do what's been asked, but they've never been told no.
It makes kindergarten painful.
It makes kindergarten so painful. Academically, teach them to write their name, their first name with one capital letter at the beginning and lowercase letters. We do a terrible disservice when we teach our child to write all caps because we have to unteach that when they come to school. The other thing I was thinking about is because we're such a iPhone world, we have forgotten to teach our children their first and last name. And so you would be amazed at the number of children I have in kindergarten through the years that didn't know their last name. And I would tell their parents they need to know their last name.
Their full name.
Their full name. And their parents' phone numbers. We just don't teach that anymore.
We don't memorize them because they're in a device.
We don't memorize. And they need to memorize. And because most phones just have an iPhone at home, those kids must know how to dial 911, which means some phones will override if you do that. Others won't. So they need to know your passcode because you don't have a landline anymore.
Right.
And so just those very simple things and their address. I was so insistent with my grandbabies that they know my phone number. They know their mom's phone number, but they also tell Alexa to call me and they know my first and last name. And think about that. How many of our kids don't know their grandparents' real names.
Sure.
They just know me as Nana, but they don't because they want to use Alexa to call me, so they have to have my full name.
So we have to adjust and think about what's practical and what's relevant as technology, as our culture changes, and being very intentional about that.
And I want to take kids off screens. I just think, honestly, the research is out there. It's devastating to them. They need to be outside playing. They need to be playing without it being so structured.
Right.
And I don't know that we've embraced that as this current culture. We have them very structured in gameplay, like baseball or soccer,
Right,
dance, sports. But we need to let them just get outside and play.
Just dig in the dirt and
Just
explore.
dig in the dirt, give them a butter dish and a spoon and some. It's such a better learning time than doing everything so structured.
Right.
And then in the elementary years, I think parents need to defend their children, but not in front of their children with a teacher because they're going to get in trouble.
Sure.
And kids tell us everything, but we don't believe it all. So when they go home, they tell you a lot. Don't believe it all.
Of course.
Or else we're going to be calling the police because they've told us some crazy stuff. But I mean, it's just children. It's what they do. What they do. Intermediate school to me is a hard challenge because they leave the sweet elementary environment and now they're expected to do a little bit more and to be a little more independent.
Huge change.
It is a huge change. But parents need to stay engaged. And the sad part is that parents get tired because it's exhausting and kids are trying to pull away. And that's when you need to stay so tight. But I'm going to preach this. Do not give your child a phone at intermediate age. They don't need that much access.
Right.
They just don't. Or if you choose, just give them a flip phone.
A dumb phone, not a smartphone?
Yes. And plug it up in your room and make any electrical device charged in your bedroom at night as the parent. Why? Because parents are like, well, they need their privacy. No, they do not. Their privacy gets them in trouble. And you are paying for that device. You have every right to see what's on there.
It's your device, actually.
And that's what I tell parents now at the middle school. Oh, do they pay for it? No. Then it's not theirs. It's yours. And you need to take responsibility because the kids have too much access to everything. Everything. And it's heartbreaking.
I think the challenge is, as things have gone more digital, they have more freedom than they have the maturity to handle that freedom with. And so they're dealing with issues that they would never have to if they didn't have that much access
Right.
to the rest of the world.
Just read an article that was so powerful, and it talked about screens and Chat GPT, and that they asked Chat GPT, if you were Satan and you wanted to destroy the world, how would you do it? And
What a
he
question.
Said, and Chat GPT said, I wouldn't do it with war. I would do it with keeping them busy without a focus. And they would call it freedom. But it would be devastating.
Doesn't that just sum up so many of our challenges?
It does. And children are questioning adult authority, which was a natural state, but because they have access to TikTok, they have access to so much that feeds their brain and makes them think that this is typical, this is normal, and it's not. And we have to fight against it. It's a war. It's a war between good and evil.
Absolutely.
It truly is. And I want parents to stand up and say, enough. I'm done. I'm done. I need my kids. They need to be children, and they need to be naive. They don't need to know the ugly of the world yet.
There's some real beauty in just being the age that you actually are, instead of fast forwarding so many adult issues and problems that they don't know how to process and reason through.
And that's also with literature. Even though you might read on a 10th grade level and you're in the 4th grade, you're developmentally not ready to handle the content.
The themes, and it
Yes.
doesn't have to be bad words, just more
No.
mature themes.
Exactly. And so just to be nosy as a parent, be nosy. And what I always said is, you be the driver, you be the carpool person, and turn your radio off and just listen.
Just listen.
Hear what they're talking about. And you don't interject until later when it's a little quiet. And then you say, hey, tell me what was meant when 6-7 or whatever. And just so that they know that you're listening. And you be the excuse for them to not drink at a party in high school. Because I will give you my consequences. My consequences were crazy, but my boys knew I meant it. And so if you're a minute late at curfew, then I take your car keys for a day.
Ooh,
For every minute.
like it.
Remember that. For every minute you're late, if you haven't contacted me and there's a really good reason, I get your keys for every minute you're late. It's a day. But Mom, I don't care. You know the rules, and you broke them. There's a consequence. And I told, since I had boys, I would tell the girl parents, and they're like, no, we let them stay out until midnight in 11th grade. I'm sorry. There's nothing good going on at midnight.
At that time, certainly.
No. Now, if they want to come to my house and hang with me, sure. And I did a lot of that. I had a lot of kids at my house all the time. But I'd rather them be with me where I knew what was not available.
Absolutely.
Than someplace I might not know. And I had a lot of kids at my house. I cooked for them all the time because I wanted them to feel welcomed, but I wanted to be nosy.
And that's how you know, is by having them there and being close and being involved and all that. I hear you talking about being very intentional about your values, regardless of what seems to be the norm, regardless of complaints that my friends have this, my friends have this app, my friends have access to these things, and really going against the grain on a lot of things that we've just maybe whitewashed in our culture as parents because it seems normal, so it must be fine. It's that everybody's doing it. I love your encouragement for parents to be courageous.
You have to be. You have to be, because you are their protector. My nephew, with his kids, this is brilliant. So he told them, if you stay off social media, when you turn 16, we will give you $1,600 to go towards your car.
Wow.
Okay, but I want you to think about it. They'd be getting a car at 16 anyway. You know what I'm saying?
It was an investment
It was
towards...
an investment towards what they wanted. But when their friends said, you're not on whatever, and they would go, no, but I get $1,600 if I stay off of it. So it gave them a reason.
Right.
Without feeling like they were nerds.
Like it was always a no for them.
Yes. But
Certainly.
they're like, I want to. You're not getting $1,600 when you turn 16? But I thought, what a brilliant way.
Make it a positive incentive,
Yes.
not just a negative. You can't.
Yes.
You can't.
Yes.
I love that. As your career has been so long and in so many different areas that you've had so much experience, What have you seen with public education, the trend in the last 40 years? Positives, negatives. What are things that jump out to you?
The positive are kids. Kids are kids. They really are. They've just been exposed, like in the last 15 years, to things that they weren't ready for yet. But I love public education. I love it. Why? Because I think it's powerful when kids have been introduced to children of all different types, of all different religions, of all different socioeconomic status, and kids really don't care. It's the adults that care.
Fascinating.
It is. But kids, their best friends might be someone of a different religion and a different race, but they don't care.
They see the person, not the labels,
Exactly.
not the differences.
Exactly. And so public education has changed somewhat. It's a pendulum swing.
Of course.
And when you've been in it I've been here since 1983, I've seen the pendulum swing. And
probably multiple times.
Multiple times. And I see it going back towards a little bit more conservative and a little bit more restrictive, which I think is positive because kids flourish with boundaries. They just do. When they know that you don't step outside of this boundary to be successful. And what I say to my middle school kids, and they even told me today after school, Mama, don't play. I don't play. So
they know this about you.
No, my no means no. But I love them so big. And I really do. But no means no. And the no is there for their benefit.
Absolutely.
It's not because I'm power hungry. The easiest thing for me and the easiest thing to do as a parent is to say, okay, whatever. Because then you don't have to fight them.
Right.
The other thing I did as a parent, goodness gracious, is I gave my consequences weren't a timeout because timeouts are frustrating for everybody. But my kids loved money. I don't know a child that doesn't want money. So what I did is I charged them. I'm sorry, that took an hour of my time because you chose not to be obedient. So that's going to cost you $15.
That they'd earned likely or been
no.
gifted for a birthday.
No, not really. They had to work it off.
Oh, nice.
So for every, I said, you're going to have to do the chores I hate, which cleaning baseboards, I hate that. So it was 50 cents a wall.
Nice.
And they
Keep them busy all day.
It did keep them busy. They're like, this is terrible, Mom. Well, will you think twice next time? Yes.
Make a better choice.
Make a better choice. And so a nickel for every weed they pulled out of them. Was it busy? But you know what? We were going to have to pull the weeds anyway.
Right.
And so, but Mom, I want to go to the movie. You still owe me $5. And it just... It was a life lesson. It truly, truly is. And so, I don't know, it's just things I learned. I had a parent when I was a middle school teacher when I first started and right when I had my first child. And he said the worst thing we ever did was put a TV in their room. And he said, once I put a TV in their room, I lost connection. So my boys didn't get TVs.
Right.
Until now, did we have a playroom with a TV? Yes.
Sure.
But it wasn't in their bedrooms. And their senior year in high school, they got a TV so they could take it to college. But I meant it was just...
Which, again, is probably something you would have done anyway. So
I would
just
have
became...
done it, but I would have given them a TV in their room as a child and not thought anything about it.
Right.
And how grateful I am that man was in my life as a parent.
Mentored you at that stage.
Yes, he was just a parent of one of my students. And I was like, thank you. I never thought of that. And that's the blessing of public education because I get to hear stories from all types and all walks.
Different perspectives.
Yes. Today it was so funny. I had a little girl and she said her brother got in trouble at school. I said, oh my goodness, you get to go home and be the angel child today. And she was like, I just go to my room. I'm like, you have your own room? You are so lucky. And she's like, Miss. I'm like, no, seriously. I have 3 brothers. We slept in the same room in bunk beds. And she's like, no, you didn't. I said, yes.
No
we
privacy.
did. There was no privacy. One bathroom, no privacy. And we want great things for our kids, but we kind of stifle them because we give them so much.
More isn't better.
More is never always better. It really isn't.
What are some of the challenges that you see in trying to raise kids that are God followers with public education today, and the challenges that you see with the middle school kids that you're dealing with?
I'm going to be honest. My believers, they're vocal about their belief, and I love that. But they know I'm a believer, so they're going to share.
It gives them some confidence.
Exactly. But our Fellowship of Christian Athletes program, huge. And we have another Bible study that meets in the mornings, and the kids, they just gravitate towards it. And I love that, and they know that I do. Challenges is if you have not allowed your children to be prideful about their belief in God. You know, we take them to church, but if you don't talk about it, then that's the challenge.
It's not real for
It's
them.
not real
It's a
for
place
them.
they go, not a relationship.
It's not a relationship. And if we don't have a faith relationship, we're in a world of hurt. But the staff pray for your kids. And, you know, yes, you can go to a private school, but you're still going to experience the same issues. It is the nature. Satan wants to destroy. He comes to seek and to destroy.
Sin is everywhere because we're
everywhere.
human.
Yes, we are human. And what I tell parents now when kids get in trouble is you are so blessed because you've caught them now. Because if you don't catch them until they're 17 or 18, it's too old. So the other thing I did for my boys, and they didn't like this, but I prayed. Part of my prayer life was, God, help me catch them in their lies.
That's beautiful because the darkness is where everything flourishes. It's the secrecy. So being able to see it and call it out
and talk
is a game
about
changer.
It is a game changer. And so, but in public school, God is present. God is there. It's a ministry field.
It is.
It is. And I feel that's where God has placed me, obviously, because I wouldn't still be doing this now if it wasn't what God wanted me to do. Because it is exhausting. It is a lot of work. But the work is for the kids. And I might be the only God person that they get a relationship with.
You never know.
You never know
who you're influencing.
No. And so God has me there for a purpose.
Give us some encouragement for folks that are struggling with the transitions of these ages. And I feel like, as a mom, as soon as you get comfortable someplace, and this could be you feel like you've got nap time down, or your after-school routine, or whatever freedom that you're giving your kids now that they're new drivers, whatever that looks like. When you feel like I'm settled in this place, something changes. They're growing, they're developing, students are maturing, all of these things. Some of us have a little easier time with change than others. Some of us white knuckle it, some of us embrace it. I think you're a change agent, Elizabeth Hostin.
Love change. I love change. I struggled with infants because I didn't know what to do with them, my babies. But now, as a grandmother, I love babies.
You've got plenty of
I've got
ideas.
Plenty of ideas. It is, y'all, parenting is the hardest job that you will ever do. It's just hard. But pray without ceasing. Every time God lays that child in your head, stop right then and pray. You don't know why, but God does. God does. I love to see how kids grow and mature, and just to be able to embrace that. And you know what? God never planned for us to stay as toddlers.
Right.
Not in our faith walk, not in our real life, not in guys, we are called to grow and mature. And as a parent, you need to embrace that. And your kids are going to mess up because they are, but you love them through it anyway. In spite of it. And every stage is a little different. I will tell you, I didn't really shed tears at kindergarten because I knew they had so many years. The hardest transition for me was from middle school to high school.
Oh, you could see the
with my
end.
boys. Because when I dropped them off in 9th grade, I realized, oh my goodness, I only have 4 more years.
And they're short years.
They are short years because they are packed. They are packed full. Then they go to college, and I will tell you, God gets your heart ready for them to go to college because they drive you crazy.
You're ready for them to move on.
You are ready, but to me, it's a natural state where God's preparing you for them to be gone.
Right.
Because they make a mess, and they really want to be pulled away at that time. I'm graduated from high school, and the best advice I ever got was when I dropped them at college, not to leave from the dorm. Put this in your brain, but you go out to dinner and you leave from there. Because naturally, many times you go to dinner in different cars and people drive away.
That's not awkward or
It's
strange.
not awkward or strange. Driving away from a dorm is hard. And so we would go out to dinner and then we just pulled away. Now, were there tears? Yes.
Of course.
But it wasn't as hard as walking away from a dorm where you realized this is it.
Their address is different now.
Their address is
It's
different.
not my home.
But I'm amazed as a former college professor at the parents that still are babying their collegiate kids and saying, you need to get up and do your homework. You haven't done your homework. I'm like, they're 19 years old. So let
Too
them,
late for that.
And the other thing we do as moms especially, we don't want them to fail. But I will tell you, it's so powerful that they fail while they're still in your house. Because then they learn that failure is just an opportunity to try something new and to be successful.
And that failure is normal. It's a normal part of life.
Oh, my goodness. It's so normal. But many of us want to rescue and save. And my youngest has had quite not a lot, but more than I ever had, friends that committed suicide. And I said, help me understand why, and he was in theater and wouldn't always get the parts. And I said, why, what is, how are you able to handle this? And he said, well, you didn't fight my battles when I was in school. You let me, if I didn't get a part, I didn't get a part. And he said, so you didn't overreact and make me overreact. And I was like, oh, I didn't do it on purpose. You're just like, oh, well, sometimes you make it, sometimes you don't.
You want to be a soft place to fall, but you don't want to cushion the landing so much that they never experience just natural disappointment.
Right.
Because none of us get everything we want.
No. And, bad grades. Sometimes you need to let them experience getting a C. Why? And it's hard because you want an A, B student. But sometimes that C is one of the most powerful tools that child will ever learn. because they realize they didn't put in the effort.
And it doesn't reflect what they could really do.
Right, right. And so it's allowing them, even the F, I hated the Fs, but even allowing that to happen.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time, sharing your talent, sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you, friends. Thank you for tuning in today. See you next time.